Good, happy Thursday morning, April 28, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Thursday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, Manchester Police Comfort Pony visits Elm Street businesses. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Smile Direct Club. Smile Direct Club is a great way to straighten your teeth at home.
This really is one of my favorite.
Welcome back. Some kids in Manchester had a surprise guest downtown on Elm Street today.
And that they did. Take a look. After story time at the Bookery, families got the chance to meet with Eddie, Manchester PD's comfort pony. Police tell us Eddie got lots of love and pats on the head. You can see why, as he munched away on some of his favorite snacks. Now, Eddie is a former therapeutic riding pony who joined the force earlier this year. He was featured on New Hampshire Chronicle, too. You can check that out on our WMUR.com or our mobile app. Eddie is just the cutest.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very cool indeed. What a cute pony. Ex-Islamic State fighter says he accepts full responsibility in the death of James Foley and others. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
For the murder of New Hampshire native James Foley.
This is an individual who is a brutal individual.
Jason Blazakis is a professor at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies in Monterey, California. He previously worked in the Bureau of Counterterrorism for the U.S. State Department, in charge of sanctioning terrorists like Alexander Cote, the ex-Islamic State terrorist responsible for the murder of New Hampshire native James Foley, as well as other Americans in Syria.
Engaged in activities associated with keeping Western hostages within the confines of ISIS, meting out horrible punishments to those hostages.
A sentencing memo filed Wednesday by the defense contained a handwritten letter in which Cote accepted responsibility for all his decisions and actions.
He tried to justify in this letter the reasons what he did, and the justification to me rings shallow. Essentially 22 pages of those 23 pages are about him.
Cote's defense team is hoping to avoid near-permanent solitary confinement by asking the court to take into consideration Cote's acknowledgement of guilt and his work to provide information to the U.S. government. But Blazakis says solitary confinement is where Cote belongs.
This is an individual who should be treated like other individuals, like the so-called Unabomber in isolation. He's an extremely dangerous individual.
And now in its sentencing memo, the prosecution said Cote had a thirst for extreme violence. Cote will be sentenced in federal court down in Virginia on Friday. Reporting live, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. FBI joins Concord double homicide investigation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Aaron?
Just want to see him.
On Tuesday, it was confirmed that the FBI is assisting in the investigation into the shooting deaths of Stephen and Wendy Reed. The married couple in their 60s left their Concord home last Monday night to walk the broken ground trails and never returned. Their bodies were found 3 days later, both with multiple gunshot wounds.
It's resources. It's good foundational partnership. It's making sure that it's clear that they're taking this investigation very seriously.
Brian Rich is a criminal justice professor at Southern New Hampshire University and former special agent with the FBI. He says there are several reasons why the FBI would get involved. For example, a possible gang involvement, public corruption, or suspicion of a hate crime.
Hate crimes are very, very delicate, and they're almost exclusively investigated by the FBI.
The couple also had international ties, so the FBI could be involved for cross-border work.
That's not something that a police agency would have not only the talent, but the skill sets, and certainly not the jurisdiction.
Rich says involving the FBI in any case provides access to their database and other valuable resources.
Including the FBI is something that nowadays it is a smart move to do. It is a move that screams that they want to have full resolve. So it's actually very impressive.
And Rich says what stands out to him most about what he's seen from this investigation is the dedicated partnership between multiple law enforcement agencies. Live in Concord tonight, Jason King, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Pandemic entering new phase, Fauci says. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Even with new COVID cases on the rise in more than 30 states, Dr. Anthony Fauci making news after telling PBS that the U.S. is now, quote, out of the pandemic phase. A lot of questions about that and what he meant and what Dr. Fauci is now saying. Here's Eva Pilgrim tonight.
Tonight, Dr. Anthony Fauci making headlines, saying while the world still faces the coronavirus pandemic, the U.S. is entering a new stage.
We are certainly right now in this country out of the pandemic phase. Namely, we don't have 900,000 new infections a day and tens and tens and tens of thousands of hospitalizations and thousands of deaths. We are at a low level right now.
Dr. Fauci later clarifying, saying the pandemic is not over, but the country has entered a more controlled phase, and that does not mean we are out of the woods. It comes as hospital admissions are up 15% and projected to climb in the coming weeks, and experts warn of the threat of new variants.
This virus has global impact, and it means that, we see spread in one part of the world. We will likely see a surge here.
Tonight, after testing positive, the vice president is being treated with the antiviral treatment Paxlovid. The drug is authorized for people with mild to moderate symptoms who are at an increased risk to develop severe illness. Harris, who is 57, is asymptomatic, so the White House was asked if she was given the drug because of her critical role as vice president.
Certainly, we are grateful that this treatment is out there and available so that the vice president, somebody who's incredibly important in the line of succession, can take it, but she did it through consultations with her doctor.
So let's bring in Eva Pilgrim for more on this. We reported last night here, Eva, on Paxlovid, and tonight I know the administration is really trying to get Paxlovid out to more Americans who need it around the country, saying there is a supply of this.
David, they are doubling the number of pharmacies and clinics around the country, trying to make this more accessible. It can cut the risk of hospitalization by 90%. Doctors say, though, it's important to give it early, and they say to talk to your provider to make sure that it doesn't interfere with any of your other medications. David?
Eva Pilgrim with us here tonight as well. Thank you, Eva.
Hi, everyone. George.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for tuning in and watching this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone.